Okay, first part of it. Is that easy? I think about what do I talk about? We want to graph a diagram of every point that makes that true. Now, if I wanted to make a long video, I could say, let's pick a point and see if it works for that and see if it works for that. Even if you didn't understand what that was, and even if you didn't understand what that was. This tends to muck a lot of people up. Most people look at that and just go, it's a circle with a radius of 2, with a centre of 2 plus 3i. So I could quickly draw that one up. We want the set of points that are less than or equal to 2 units from that point. Do you see it as that yet? The distance from the set of points to that point has to be less than or equal to 2. Now algebraically we could do it. What do we put in for algebraically?
X
plus I, do Pythagoras. Don't worry about that to start with, make it equals and figure out what it was. We're not going through that process here. So you go to 2 plus 3i, try to make it reasonable. And we want to go out 2 units. So I do this still, I'll go over, I'll actually mark it 2, mark it 2. What you got to be careful for is a dot determines the centre. So if I've got a wonky diagram that says it's a circle and that's the centre. So I actually go through and I do that sort of stuff and then I do that. And even on the whiteboard with a horrible diagram, it's not bad. I mean, the thing is over the years, but I just go, whoop, and try to get the one. So we want all the points that are less than or equal to 2 units from there. So that means everything in here. So by the way, if I had that as less than, what would I do? Dotted circle. Pretty hard to draw a dotted circle. I get pretty good at it though, I think, over time.
Just do it in pencil and erase.
Yes, and then rub out, so you can. Okay, now this is the one that kills people. What is that? How do you put it into words? What are you going to say? You get the Z and the conjugate of the Z, and it's got to be greater than or equal to 3. So, doing that graphically, do you actually know what it is? Come on. What's your brain do with that? I don't know. What do you? What do we do if we don't know?
Guess.
Better than guess. Guess.
Check.
No, better than that. Replace that by x plus iy.
And then that'd be x take iy?
Now what's it? Yeah, so what's the trap? Minus x take iy. And guess where people go wrong, no matter what they do, they will make mistakes. So it's not x, what's it going to be then? X plus iy minus x plus iy. Greater than or equal to 3.
So you got
So most people do all of that in their head. What was the risk when I did all of that in my head? Silly mistakes. So what do I do when I'm marking this over and over again, or things like it over, and people get the negative wrong there. They don't get that wrong, they get it wrong there. So you got that. So it's actually, I'm going to call it 0x plus 2iy is greater than or equal to 3. Well, what's that? Still no help to your brain, probably.
square both.
What's this? We can talk about what it means, but in practicality, what do we do every time we see that? Starts with P. Y. Pythagoras. See while I write some of the letters down, get your brain to think. Fallback position. Pythagoras. So what have we got? We've got 0 squared plus, now what do we write here?
2i squared, or just 2 squared?
Not 2 squared and not 2iy squared. What's the real part of this? It's actually 0x, but we can just put 0. What's the imaginary part of that? 2y squared. That causes people a lot of grief. What else do I say about? I could talk about for a while. What if I had 3 plus 2y? What would I write? Come back to me on this. Square it off, 3 squared plus 2 squared.
Which is root 13.
So did I write the I? I'm saying how long would 3 plus 2i be? I could draw a little diagram up and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I want to know how long it is. In other words, how far it is from the origin, if you want to talk that way.
Root 13.
Yeah. And it's Pythagoras. Did you use the I? No.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, I get that now.
So I is the direction, so we're only using the 3 and the 2. So I is the direction, so we're only using the naught, or the naught x if you wanted to, and the 2y. But what's this become? The square root of 4y squared greater than or equal to 3. What do we do to both sides? Square it, and I've got 4y squared greater than or equal to 9. Now here's where people come unstuck. People just mess it up and make mistakes and don't know really what to do. So y squared is greater than or equal to 9 on 4. What happens when you get rid of a y squared? You get y. If I take the square root of that side, I take the square root of that side, and what do I have to write on this? There's 2 cases. There's a plus case and there's a minus case. So mathematically, can I write greater than or equal to a plus or minus? No. So old school, we'd write that as y squared equals 9 on 4. Ignore that and go y equals plus or minus the square root of 9 on 4, being really fussy, which is plus or minus 3 on 2. You okay with the 3 on 2?
Mm.
And you go, let's look at our graph. We've got a y of plus 3 on 2. So there's, try to draw it nice. There's y equals 3 on 2. And down here, what do I have? I've got that one. By the way, common sense, has this got anything to do with it, the negative one? No. So how do you know which section? Is it up from that, down from that, up from that, down from that? How can you tell? Go back to this.
Would it be in between those 2 points?
Let's check and see. Are you used to seeing people say test? We're going to test. Let's test y equals. What's in between those 2? You could test 1. You could test 0. You could test minus 1. You could test 1 and 1.4. You can test any number in here, because if one number in here is true, all of them are true. If one number in there isn't true, none of them are true. Let's test y equals 0. Y squared equals 9 on 4. And we're looking at, well, let's go back to the original. We're better if we do the original. Y squared is greater than, so we test 0. 0 squared, is that greater than or equal to 9 on 4? No. So any point in there is not true. How do I find which ones are true? What can I test now? Let's test y equals 3. So we're going to test all these points across here as y equals 3. Now we have 3 squared greater than or equal to 9 on 4. So is 9 greater than or equal to 2 1/4? Yeah. I'm going to go nutty for a second. What if I test y equals, let's pick one down here. Let's test y equals minus 2. Is minus 2 squared greater than or equal to 2 1/4?
Yes.
So 4 is great. Oops. 4 is greater than 2. So that means everything down here is true. And everything up there is true. What does this say though? When it says and, so do these points satisfy that and that? No. So what's the points are satisfied? Every point above that line will make it true, and every point within the circle will make it true. Can you see what the answer is? All the points that are above that line are within the circle. So there's the answer to the question. Okay, how much of that went straight over your head?
Everything except for the circle was fine.
You drew the circle and then
Yeah, no. So, okay, everything after the circle I got it, but how did you get the circle? How did you work out?
Yeah, we'll go back to that for you. We want any points, when you subtract that point, the length of it is less than or equal to 2. So let's go back to the common sense this way for a moment. I've got to think about, which way do I teach you this time? 2, 3. There's the centre. Are you okay that that's the centre and the centre is 2 plus 3i? This is talking about the distance of any points from that point. By the way, that point there, mate, Ash,
Yep.
is that less than 2 units from me?
Yes.
Is that less than 2 units from me? Bit harder to tell.
Yes.
Is that less than 2? That less than 2? That less than 2? They're all less than 2 units from me. You okay with that idea?
Yep.
2, 4. What about that one there?
That is 2.
It's
Exactly 2.
But it's equal to or less than.
Yeah. That's exactly 2.
Okay, so it's just saying, so the center is Z take something, and then
Yes.
that something is the center, and then the other thing is.
So if I did this to you, so I did 1 plus 4, right? Less than equal to 1.
Yep.
What have we got there?
The center would be 1 plus 4i, and then the radius would be 1.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what if it's greater than or equal? Oh, okay, I get
A
it.
bit weird. Not as common that we do that.
I feel like
suppose.
we're going into probability now.